Welcome to the Down South Packers podcast with me, your host, Anthony Boyd. And today we're going to be talking about training camp. Training camp's finally here. We made it through the summer without football, but now the Green Bay Packers will be on a football field this week. And today I'm going to go over three players that I'm paying super close attention to as we get closer to the season starting. Three players that I'm excited about because I think there's reasons for optimism when you look at all three of these players. One's a receiver who will have lots of opportunity thrown his way. He has plenty of room to grow here. One's a defensive end who's out of excuses. There's no reason for him to not play well as we get ready to head into this upcoming year. And the third person that I'm looking at is an offensive lineman who is finally back at his natural position. So let's dive into it. The first player that I'm going to be talking about, it's very obvious who I'm going to be talking about today. It's Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden has a big runway and a big opportunity to step forward and make a huge impact for this Green Bay Packers team this season. It's obvious that he didn't get the production that you were looking for last year. Only had about 29 catches in the regular season, 44 targets in general, a little over 300 yards, no touchdowns. Not the production you would typically expect out of a first-round receiver in the NFL. However, if you watch the Green Bay Packers, any of their skill position players, especially receivers, you're not going to see a lot of production out of these rookies. And Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson kind of being anomalies because there was nothing in the receiver room whenever they were drafted, so they had to step out on the field. We saw that didn't go well for Christian Watson. Obviously, dropped his first ever pass from Aaron Rodgers against the Vikings in that season opener. Packers receivers don't get that many opportunities early on. It's kind of how they do things in Green Bay. It's not necessarily that he didn't have the talent or the ability to be a really good receiver in the NFL. Matthew Golden just had a crowded receiver room ahead of him. There's a lot of proven guys ahead of him that deserved the target share that they were getting last year. Romeo Doubs was ahead of him, and we know Romeo Doubs is now gone, exited in free agency to the New England Patriots. Dontavian Wicks was a receiver who had a lot of target share last year, had a big game on Thanksgiving against the Lions, saved the game with no shoe on his foot to make a big fourth down catch. I believe it was fourth down. Made a big catch to seal that game. So there's two guys right there that had a lot of targets ahead of Matthew Golden that are now gone. Matthew Golden has opportunities to step in and get some of their targets, and I think he'll make the most out of them. Another few people that were ahead of him were Tucker Kraft and Christian Watson. Those guys were ahead of him. They were taking more targets. So now you kind of have a trio of receivers plus a tight end that's an absolute animal that are going to command some of this attention on this offense. Christian Watson, big, deep threat, huge, big 6'4" receiver type of guy, can go up and make plays for you down the field, but he also has blazing speed. So he's part of this trio that's going to take over. Jaden Reed, who I think is personally Jordan Love's kind of safety blanket. It's almost like Jordan Love's Randall Cobb, in my opinion, where he has a slot guy that he really trusts and who makes plays for him. Now Jaden Reed isn't faultless. Jalen Reed has room to grow. He had some big drops last year. Obviously, the most notable one being in the wild card round against the Bears. Jordan Love hit him in the face mask and he dropped it. But Jaden Reed is a really good receiver, and I think will continue to improve. We saw he got a contract extension. And then Tucker Kraft, also a big piece of this offense. But not Jaden Reed, but Matthew Golden will be the third piece added to that trio, that receiver trio, that's going to make plays for the Green Bay Packers this year. Matthew Golden's really talented. I really like what I saw from him on the film when you watch it. It's obvious he can get open. Getting open is not a problem for him. With the ball in his hands, he's very dynamic. Again, we saw it in the Bears game. His only touchdown of the season came at one of the biggest moments of the year. Touchdown that I thought should have sealed that game, and the Packers should have won after he scored it. Showed a lot of heart, breaking tackles, rumbling his way into the end zone. So I'm really looking forward to Matthew Golden's next step as a receiver. Like I said, he's going to get a lot more production because he's going to have a lot more a lot more opportunity this year than he had in last year. Look out for Matthew Golden as we head into this 2026 season. Watch him at training camp. I'm sure he's going to make plenty of plays out there. His name is just going to be floating around a lot. I know a lot of people also didn't pay attention to it because they were hearing first round pick and they thought fantasy value, but again, if you don't watch the Packers, you would have done that. If you watch the Packers, you understand he's probably not going to get that with the room that was there ahead of him. So Matthew Golden, I'm looking forward to watching you ball out this year, man. I'm super high on Matthew Golden heading into next year. He's a fun receiver. He's going to be fun to watch for the Packers for hopefully a long time. Number two player, going into this season. Like I said, there's a defensive end I want to talk about that has no room for excuses, and it's Lukas Van Ness. I think Lukas Van Ness took a step forward last season. I thought he played really well when he was on the field and healthy. But still, for a first-round pick, and I saw someone posted on Twitter, I think it was yesterday I saw it, they posted some of the picks that came after him and who the Packers passed up to take Lukas Van Ness, and there were some pretty notable names like Christian Gonzalez behind him. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba was drafted after him. So big players that are currently making huge impacts on their team, you would want your first-round pick to do the same. Lukas Van Ness has physical gifts to do that. He has a huge opportunity heading into this year with Micah Parsons being out for probably half of the year. More than likely, you want to take it easy on Micah just to make sure when he comes back, he's 100% and fully ready to go. Lukas Van Ness can establish himself here in training camp as the bona fide person opposite of Micah. Rashawn Gary got traded away. Rashawn Gary had 7 sacks last year, very productive in the first half of the season, but after that kind of tapered off. But there was no real other option at defensive end outside of Micah. There was no real pass rush outside of Micah Parsons when he was off of the field. Lukas Van Ness has an opportunity now to really step into that role. He has an opportunity to come in, make plays for this defense. I think, like I said, he has the physical gifts to do so, and with Micah being out, he can be a leader in that room. A lot of people in the building are high on Lukas Van Ness. They're saying do not count him out. I know you hadn't seen the production that you'd expect from him, but Micah Parsons himself said that guy is really good at football. You need to be paying attention to him and what it is that he's doing, because Lukas Van Ness is going to have a big impact on this football team. I want to see that because I was disappointed last year when Micah went down. There was virtually no pass rush. Now, granted, there were other injuries along the defensive line. Devontae Wyatt's not there. Like I said, Rashawn Gary, for whatever reason it was, he just could not make an impact pass rush-wise. He gave up. He didn't set the edge on the play that Caleb Williams had that extended the game for the Bears and ultimately led to them winning that game. So he just wasn't fully there for the Packers on the back half of the season, heading into the playoffs, and it hurt. It hurt the Packers. So you're hoping that some of this young talent that's in the room, spearheaded by Lukas Van Ness, could step up. Micah Parsons has been a vocal leader in that room. I hope that he pushes Lukas Van Ness to be great. Again, it seems like Micah's very confident in the skills and the ability that Lukas Van Ness has. So I'm hoping that Lukas can carry that into the next season. I know myself, along with other people, see that in him, and I think he'll be able to make a huge impact on this team as we head into 2026. The third and final player I want to talk about, and I know this video is going kind of quick, but the third player that I want to talk about is Jordan Morgan. Jordan Morgan has been bouncing around the offensive line since he was drafted. His first year, he dealt with some injuries. He wasn't as available as you'd want him to be. Last year, he improved some, but the problem was he's playing some guard, and that's not his natural position. You could tell he didn't really fit in there. Like, he wasn't very comfortable playing guard. After Zach Tom went down, he got out to some tackle and played okay. Not okay. I think PFF had him ranked relatively high once he kicked out to tackle. And PFF, take it with a grain of salt. It's its own problem, and it has its issues and inconsistencies. But it said that Jordan Morgan was a pretty good right tackle. Now you get him on the other side of the line where he played started at left tackle over 30 games for Arizona, helped them have a really good offense in his senior season. I think Jordan Morgan obviously was a first-round pick for a reason. Left tackle is a huge spot for this offensive line. Rasheed Walker did not play well last year at all. Heading into the year, you would have thought Rasheed Walker would have been okay at left tackle, but throughout the year he struggled. And this offensive line really needs some consistency at the left tackle position in particular. I don't think anyone wants to see Jordan Love being told to run by his left tackle because he's getting chased down by Myles Garrett. That's not ideal. You don't want Jordan getting hit from his backside by Myles Garrett. You don't want that. So I'm hoping that Jordan Morgan can fit in at left tackle where he's very comfortable and kind of solidify this offensive line. I think he only gave, don't quote me on it because there's a lot of facts and people who give out stats for offensive linemen coming into the NFL, but I think he gave up less than 5 sacks in his final season at Arizona. He has the talent to produce at left tackle for the Packers. I have huge faith in him. I think he's going to be able to do it. Hopefully, since he's at his natural spot, he can produce. There's a lot of other question marks along the offensive line. But I think with continuity and you getting him back in his natural spot, he's going to be able to protect Jordan Love and have a big season at left tackle. Couple of questions I want to pose to you guys as we get ready to close this video. What do you think Matthew Golden's yardage total will be at this year? With less mouths to feed in the receiver room, do you think he has over 750 yards? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on that are. Another question I want to pose. Lukas Van Ness. You either love him or hate him. A lot of people don't really like Lukas Van Ness. But do you think he has over or under 7.5 sacks? That's Rashawn Gary's mark from last year. Do you think he can get over 7.5 sacks? I personally believe he will, just because I think he's going to have a higher motor and more opportunity to do so. He'll have to be the defensive end, the primary defensive end on this defensive line early. Now, who's opposite of him early in the season when Mike is out is another question. But Lukas Van Ness should be able to produce at left tackle. At defensive end, I'm sorry, not left tackle. I have faith in him getting over 7.5 sacks heading into this year. Let me know your thoughts and ideas on the 3 people that I listed heading into the season. I think these 3 players have rising stock. I think they're going to play really well for the Packers. Again, let's be super excited because training camp's here. Football's finally back. We have a lot to be excited about. As always, guys, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have a lot going on here over the next few weeks. Next few months, football season's here, so I'll be posting a lot more content. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so that you can get all the alerts whenever I post videos. And you can find me on Twitter at Anthony_Boyd for my personal Twitter. I post on there a lot, talk a lot on there about the Packers. Follow the Downside Packers Twitter account too. I love you guys. Thank you as always for listening to the video, and go Pack, go.